back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Tamara, and this is my channel at Cat Stitches. I talk about cross stitching, and I just wanted to bring another video to everyone today. There's quite a few new people, so thanks so much for everyone who has given me a follow, liked my videos, subscribed, commented. We had some really great conversations in my whip parade still, which is great. I love so much to hear from you. I don't have any like real life stitchy friends, so it's great to just kind of connect with people online. So thanks so much, really appreciate it. It's been a little over 3 weeks since my last video, so I have quite a bit to show you. I wanted to come back a little sooner, but last week was my son's spring break, and filming with a 7-year-old or soon to be 7-year-old is just not a real, you just can't do that. I mean, you could, but there might be a lot of yelling and running around and, you know, all sorts of childhood noises happening in the background. So I thought I'd prefer my channel to be a little bit more relaxing than a representation of what raising a 6-year-old is like. So I do have quite a bit to show you though. I have got a pile of whips that have had some significant work, or, you know, fairly significant, that I think you'll see the difference. I've finished. It's a pretty big finish. Not fully finished yet, but I'm pretty excited about it. And I've got 3 new starts. So I think I'm just gonna hop in and get started, and we'll see where we end up. I don't think I'm gonna go chronologically, because I kind of worked on things, you know, 3 days here, put it down, worked on it again. So, you know, that doesn't make a lot of sense for me. I tend to rotate my whips pretty frequently. So I'm just gonna start at the top of the pile and work my way through. All right, okay. So the first thing I worked on is Pandemic Sampler from Sarcy Gurl. The finished item looks like this. Very popular pattern. I keep this, I've moved it over to a Joanna 1966 bag. You can find Joanna on Etsy. I love her bags. This is a log cabin style. It's actually not, it's not quilted, it's just the fabric, but she does do quilted bags, and her bags are lovely. I am stitching this on, what am I stitching it on? 40 count, Picture This Plus Heritage. These are the floss colors. These are all called for, except I did change out, this 301 is not what's called for. I think it's supposed to be 921, is that right? Something like that. And this is where I am. So last time you saw it, it looked like this. So it's been a little bit since I picked it up, but I'm pretty sure I did some of these flowers. This whole vase might be new. I can't remember if I had the base of it before, but did a lot of work in here. I finished, it's kind of blowing out a little bit. Oh, and I have a thread. I finished the moth. There it is. You can see it's actually stitched. The wings are stitched, I promise. So I finished that moth up. I'm trying to finish essentially this page. So there's another motif that goes here. This still needs some stitching. There's a bunch of little leaves like this that need to go on all of these points, and then some of these bigger leaves need to come in. So there's still a good amount of work to do. This is on my Year of Whips, and it's on my Whip Go. It was called Once for Whip Go. I finished that, and then I just pull it out. And I really try to put at least 1 thread in a day, because it's one of my oldest whips. This is from August of 2021. So it looks beautiful though. I really love it. It's just working these flowers, it takes so much time. There's a lot of stitches in each of those little flowers. So, yep, that's the Pandemic Sampler. Next up, and if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my Notion app because I want to make sure I give you all of the right information. So Next is Child of the Universe, which will look like this. It's a Heaven and Earth design, so this is one of my full coverage pieces. I don't have all the floss on a ring yet, but these are the ones that I'm working with currently. A lot of blues, little purples, browns, blacks. This is in Vintage Owl Lady. It's a Vintage Owl Lady bag. And last time you saw it, it looked like this. I'm stitching this 1/1 on 28 count easy grid fabric, and this is what it looks like now. So things I know I've done is I've brought up the outline of the face, I filled in the hand, some of these fingers, and down here there's like a cloud, I think. So this is, I center started this piece, which I've never done on a full coverage, but I kind of think I want to do it this way from now on, because you get right to like the interesting bits. And I'll put the picture back up. You can see there's like a lot of black of the universe sort of around the outside. And so as I'm stitching, I could kind of decide, when is it enough? Do I really need everything? And I haven't decided yet what I would crop, but I'm pretty sure I'll crop some of it. This has gotten, I don't know if I can tell you how many. I put 600 stitches into this. So not a ton, but a good amount. I'm not a huge full coverage stitcher. I have to be really in the mood to do it. But I love this piece, so I'm excited to see some progress. Okay. Okay. Next up is the Winter Cat Sampler. This is in an 805 stitcher bag. It is a Kooler Design Studios pattern. It will look like this when it's done. And last time you saw it, it looked like this. And now it looks like this. So this is on a 28 count white Lugana with the called for DMC. I did a lot of back stitching and long stitching, and this side here. No, this side here, it's backwards. I put in some of the names of the flowers, and I put some more stitches, whoa, into these paper whites here. And I'm bringing this side down. So I'm gonna I wanna finish bringing this side down, and then there's a whole section under here that's kind of like the top. It's like a shorter squares. It's looking so nice though. And the thing I love, oh, I did backstitch the bird and the star. The thing I love though is that topiary tree. It looks so good. It looks good in person and it looks good on camera. And it's not backstitched at all. That's just the shading of the DMC, which I love. And that cat, like, these are just X's, people. Just X's. So really enjoying that. I've pulled out Spring Cat Sampler to work on as well, but I've only put about 20 stitches in so far. I just started working on it this morning with coffee, so not worth showing you yet, but next time I see you, there'll be some more work done on the Spring Cat, which is not as far along as this one. Sorry for the rustling. Okay. Next up, I worked on the Mermaids of the Seasons by FIllapina, which looks like this. this is on, I got this as a kit. Let me think for a second. Fiber on a Whim. Nope, Fiberlicious, Yummy Fibers. Singing in the Rain, 32 count linen. This is in an Evertote bag. It came with a kit with all the beads and the floss. So these are the crazy colors. Look how bright they are. So out of my comfort zone, honestly. Mermaids, stitching this bright, very not me, but this is where I'm at. So this is the Summer Mermaid. That's summer. And I've put some of the Krennic in, so hopefully you can see in the tail there. It's a little shiny. This border is all acrylic as well, so that's really shiny. But what I worked on was bringing in this, which is like the mermaid's bum. And then this is sort of like her flower garland that goes around here. All of these blank spots, except for one part here. So everything that's in here and in here, it's all beads. So I'll do the beading last. So my plan is to come up here, finish summer, finish the body, and then I'll move on to one of the other mermaids. And I've got it kind of framed out. Spring is, at least got the sidebar up, but I'll have some counting to do for the fall and winter, but that's okay. It's really beautiful. I'm really excited. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm not like I said, I'm not a mermaid person, but it's more like the joy of stitching it. So, it's my mermaids of the seasons. It's really fun to stitch on too. So, really enjoying it every time I pull it out. And I worked on that 3 days since I saw you last. I'm running out of room. I'm just going to set that one down here in the bin. All right. I also worked on Charlotte Warrington, which is the BAP from Homespun Sampler Facebook group. They are offering this again, Julie and Needlework Press, and I don't know if it's Colorado Cross Stitch or if it's a different shop. They are going to offer the exclusive again. You have to join the Facebook group to be able to get the link to order it. The link should be live on the 12th. I don't know how long it'll be good for, but if you want to stitch it, that's your chance. This is the antique, and I will show you. This is the rendering. Sorry for the glare of the light. So that's the rendering of what it looks like. Mine will look a little different because I have changed some colors. I've deepened the orange and this blue a little bit. This is in a Joanna 1966 bag. This is a quilted, so it's a little patchwork square block, which is really lovely. I've got the overdyes, and I've switched out the 2 or 3 of the colors, and I'll put my conversion below if you're interested. I've got a needle here. Let me just plunk that over there. And this is what it looked like last time you saw it. And this is what it looks like now. So hopefully, I'm not going to take it out because I'm working on it. It's part of a SAL, so the SAL is going for 2 years. So I really want it. I have to finish this page and this page by the end of the month. But what I've worked on is I've put this this flower pot in. I've put in some of this. I think I've put in some more border. This part was done already. This was the previous section. Isn't that beautiful though? This is missing some stitches. This will be white, like up here. This is gonna be khaki. There's some grass underneath, but I love it so much. This is on 32 count Mason linen in the colorway Vintage Sewing Box or Sewing Box. I forget if it's vintage or not. And we can find that out for you really quickly. Just Sewing Box. And I worked on this a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I worked on this 8 days since I saw you last. But it's looking gorgeous. I love it every time I pick it up. Like there's not a time where I'm like, I don't want to work on it. No, I want to work on it all the time. But I like to keep the momentum. So I put it away when it's like just at its best so that I can feel really good about doing it. Those are my whips. Now, oh, I lied. Those aren't my whips. I have more whips. I have 2 more whips to show you. Oops. So, next up is Greenhouse of Oddities by LolaCrow Stitch Co. LolaCrow Stitches. It will look like this when it's done. And this is what it looked like when you saw it last. This is on a 28 count, hand dyed by Rolanda. It's a one of a kind ice dyed fabric, and this is what it looks like. This is what they called for DMC. Things I know I worked on. I put in some blue down here. I brought this tree up. I'm trying to remember. I probably did some stitching in the black. Oh, I stitched in this tree for sure. So it's getting there. What's left is there's still tree and leaves up in here. There's a top piece with some crows. And then there's another side, right, that's like this. So it's still a fair amount of stitching to go in this one. I think it looks really good though. I was so anxious about the fabric, but I think that the bright colors really pop. And on Friday, there's a new stitch along, mystery stitch along, which is like the mysteries of the aquarium or the deadly aquarium, which I've started to kit for. So I'll have another start. But you know what? I think planning and kitting is one of my favorite things. I have probably about, do I want to say? I have about 60 things kitted. So what's one more? The other thing I worked on, and so my last whip is Hummingbird Garden. It's by Carolyn Manning. It will look like this. It is a SAL that was started by Seazook Stitch, Carolyn Manning, and it's in the Just Cross Stitch magazine. The first part was out 3 months ago. The second part just came out in the April magazine, and so you'll have to get the magazine, all 4 issues. I have the Readly app, and that's how I see mine. That's where I get my pattern from. This is what it looked like last time you saw it. And I worked on this twice since I saw you last. It's on 28 count Lugana. So I've finished the first motif and I've started working on the second one. And I think it's gorgeous. It's not something I've never stitched anything like this before. And it was a little bit of a learning curve at first. But once I got to the center, I knew exactly what I was doing. So you'll see here that I just like made a beeline for the center. I sort of used the thread that I had on my needle, but I made a beeline for the center. And then just, I'll work out from there, which I find to be working really well for me. There's a kit you can get from Annie's. If you want the Sullivans, I am doing a conversion to DMC and overdye that I just made up. So similar colors though, I would say. Very bright. The kit does come with hummingbird charms. And I liked them, but I wanted some different ones. So I ordered some different ones. They're going to be hard to see in the bag. They're also going to be hard to show you because they're small. I ordered these on Etsy. They're hand painted. I'll put the link to the shop below. Sorry guys, they're really hard to get out of this bag. So they're beads. They have a hole in the center. So there's a blue one, a purple one, a green one. It's hard to focus on that, sorry. It's so tiny. And a copper one. And then I've got extras of the purple and the teal. So I think they're going to look so sweet on this. So for instance, I don't know if I can do this, but let's try. And they're the same size as the sort of gold colored ones that the Annie's kit has. So it'll be like, wee. And they have like a placement in the chart. I think one is up here. But it's pretty. So I'm behind because the next 3 mandalas are out, so I probably won't keep up all the way, but I never do, so that's okay. Okay, here is my finish. I finished Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, Pumpkin Wreath, no, Halloween Wreath. I haven't ironed it yet. I haven't washed it yet. I'll do that before I finish it. But I finished it on Friday, I think. Maybe Saturday, this weekend. Last time I showed it to you, this section hadn't been done. So that's what I've finished stitching. And it was a whip go call, so I got a whip go for it, and it's also on a year of whips, so I got one of my year whips off, and it's gorgeous. This is on the kit fabric, which is 28 count pewter by Picture This Plus, with all of the called for DMC. I love all the little pumpkins and happy candy corns. And I had started this with the SAL, which started August of 2022 and was set to finish September of 2023, I believe. So behind, I was behind, but not terribly. Oh, it looks so good. I can't wait to have it finished. I have an idea. I want to make sure it will work, and then I will finish it and I'll show that to you. I don't know if it'll be next time, but maybe the time after that. I have some time off coming up where I plan to finish some things, because I also bought some frames to finish things. So that's my finish. But you finish one thing and you start 3 things. Isn't that how cross stitch math works? So first the first thing I started was, I don't know if I'll see if I can find a picture of it. It's Stitchy Stash by Stitchrovia, which is Emma Congdon. I'm stitching this on a 14 count Aida in antique white. I'm doing my own floss conversion to, oopsie, some overdyes that are similar to what's called for, but not exactly. And the significance of this piece is it's the first thing I've ever stitched in hand. I typically stitch in a hoop on my Lowry frame, which is over here. And I had to go into the office. So I live in New Jersey and I work in Manhattan. I'm generally a hybrid employee, but I had a project going live, so I needed to be in the office 4 days one week. And it's about a 2-hour commute each way. So I wanted something to stitch. And so I decided this would be the perfect opportunity to try to stitch something in hand. And I have. I started here and worked my way up. And I don't know if it'll focus on my stitches. They're not perfect, but they do get better. This will say needles, so the rest of this is back stitch. It has a lot of back stitching, which I haven't done because back stitching on a bus seemed a little daunting. Stitching itself was a little hard sometimes, but I think it looks really good. And I'm really proud of myself for trying to do stitching in hand. I started at the bottom and worked up, and then I came down, and I started stitching this one like from the top down. And I found that a little harder because you're stitching into a hole that already has a stitch rather than coming up through a hole that already has a stitch. I don't know if that makes sense. But I think it made my stitches. I have an error right there. Do you see it? That should look like that. I don't know what I was doing. Or maybe I'm just missing. Maybe I'm missing 3 stitches. I think I'm missing stitches rather than having an error. I'll have to look at the chart. But all things considered, I think it looks really good. This is a like 9 by 18 piece of Aida, so it'll definitely fit. I think it'll probably go to about there, maybe. But yeah, so that's my first piece that I've stitched in hand. So pretty excited about that. I did a couple of test stitches on linen. I'm not quite ready for it yet, but I can see the appeal. I don't know that I necessarily stitch faster. Oh, but I would say one of the things that did surprise me is that, well, okay, I haven't trimmed my threads yet because I didn't have scissors, but my back is a lot neater. So these will all be trimmed. They're all stitched down, but they do need to be trimmed. But compared to like, you ready? I'm going to show my back side. Here's my wreath. This is the back side. I mean, it's not terrible. I don't know. It feels like here. You can see where, rather than doing, so when you get these lines like this in the back, where it's like, rather than straight up and down, you get these sideways stitches, that's where you're doing single X's. And you're carrying the floss twice as far to get over. So you're going 1, 2, 1, 2. So like I don't know, you're carrying it further. This one actually isn't that bad. Maybe I'm thinking of my older. I mean, it definitely, like, things need to be trimmed. I'm terrible at trimming. I never look at the back of my work. Honestly, I never flip my Lowry over. So this is stitcher confession time, I guess. I'm stitching happily, stitching. I come to the end of where my thread is done. I don't turn it over. I blindly thread it through stitches in the back, pull it through, clip it relatively close to the fabric, and call it a day. I don't know what my hair's doing. Maybe I'll leave that out. Maybe we'll add that. Okay, so I blindly feed my needle through the back when I'm done stitching, clip it, and call it a day. So it's not beautiful or perfect, but I guess it's all right. But I feel like this one is neater. That something about having it constantly in my hand is making me a little bit more aware of what's happening back here than I would be otherwise. I mean, it's still not perfect, let's be honest, but we're not winning any competitions with this, but it feels a little bit like a higher quality stitch, but also could just be I'm a more experienced stitcher than when I started stitching that. All right, enough jabbering about that. Next up, sorry, zip, I forgot to unzip this one. I started a Mirabilia. I started Cathedral Woods Goddess, which looks like this. Why did I start it? Well, I decided for my 40th birthday, which is coming up at some point, not this year, next year. I wanted to start a chatelaine, but I wanted a little bit of experience with beading. I mean, I have some experience, but I wanted more experience with beading. I had this Mirabilia kitted, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity. So this is on a 32 count, picture this plus vellum. And I started in the lower left corner. So I started here. So I've got like this lower leaf thing done. They look a little bit like bananas to me. So got this banana and some berries done. And then I came over because I wanted to get some of the greenish blues in of her dress. Not a lot to see, but fun. A lot of Krennic in this one too. And when I work Krennic, I keep 2 needles. I keep one for my floss and then one for my Krennic because I like a bigger eye when I'm stitching my Krennic. I'm just looking at the back of this one and investigating it. Krennic always makes my back look messy because it's so thick. I mean, it's okay, but you can see that I don't fully tuck all my ends in like the neatest way. But looks okay. If I showed you some of my oldest whips, I mean, we all probably have. We all start somewhere. And that, my friends, is it. It is a lot, but it's been over 3 weeks. Hopefully it won't be as long next time. I'm going to talk a little bit about plans. So for plans, my other whip go call is to work on Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, which I have pulled out, actually. I've got it in my nerd hoop. So this is what mine is at. This is on 40 count Fox and Rabbit vellum. It's not vellum. What is it? Duxbury. Duxbury. Put some stitches in. I think I did some stitches in the horse. But my whip go call is 10 days or 1,000 stitches. And this is like all full coverage. And I still have a thread here because I started working on the sky. I got tired of working on snow and went up to work on the sky. Yeah, but this is like mostly full coverage. It's a large block. So that's my other whip go call. So we'll do that. There's the SAL starting on the 12th with LolaCrow for the Deadly Aquarium. There's also one starting on May 1st for the Pollinators from Blue Flower, In Praise of Pollinators. That one's being put on by Lala Stitches. I'll put her channel below. So I might join that one. I've started kitting it up. I'm missing some of the DMC, so I'm gonna have to maybe take a trip over to Michael's to get those. Or put in a 1, 2, 3 order, but a 1, 2, 3 order is a little more dangerous because floss can't travel by itself. Gotta get other things. Whereas if I go to Michael's, I can generally contain myself to floss for just a project or 2. I'm gonna work on my Spring Cat Sampler. I'm gonna put some more work into my Charlotte Warrington. I'll continue to work on my Stitchy Stash, you know, my in-hand project. Every time I'm on the bus to the city, I will just pull it out. It's been really nice. I was actually traveled to the city yesterday and worked on it again, and I didn't forget how to do it, so that was a bonus. And I think that's it. I've had some purchases. I did buy some stuff for the chatelaine that I want to work on, but I'll wait until I have it all kitted up to show you kind of what I'm going to do and which one I picked. And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. It was so good to come back and talk to you and talk about stitching. Sorry for my rambliness. And I'll edit this a little bit. Hopefully it won't be too rambly. And I'll cut that out too. Okay, thanks everyone, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy every stitch. Bye.